All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, you guys already knew this was going to happen as Sweet Baby Inc. gets ready to have one of the games that they've influenced, which is Flintlock Siege of Dawn, released. Of course, what's going to happen is the media is going to start spitting so much stories regarding this particular game because God knows they need the narrative. So we have a headline here from That Park Place that says, woke gaming media begin narrative blitz for upcoming Sweet Baby Inc. influence game, Flintlock Siege of Dawn.
Look! Look at them, they're everywhere!
Now, if you guys remember correctly, Flintlock Siege of Dawn, there was a lot of leaked photos from development cycle of Flintlock and how it was basically admitted that we went from a white female character to essentially what you see on screen once Sweet Baby Inc. got involved. There's been a lot of turmoil in terms of the developers leaving and quitting, some of the higher-ups leaving and quitting as well over at this studio, and it goes to show that they have a lot of different ideologies that have been interjected into this game that were not initially there, all thanks to good old Sweet Baby Inc. You know, that company that says they do nothing, but somehow, some way, every time they're involved, a character like this ends up being made. Yeah, they totally do nothing. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says a number of woke gaming outlets are attempting to put a positive spin on the upcoming Sweet Baby Inc. influence game, Flintlock Siege of Dawn. Founder of the Steam curator list Sweet Baby Inc. Detected and DEI Detected Kabutas Rambo revealed that Flintlock Siege of Dawn was influenced by Sweet Baby Inc. and the company's CEO Kim Belair. He cited an interview in Edge magazine with the COO of the game's developer A44, Audrea Tops-Harjo, that confirmed Belair's involvement. I also want to make something very clear when it comes to this game. I'm very curious how this game is going to perform considering it is on the list, right? This is one of the few games that we have seen that is coming out now recently, like wasn't released prior. It's a new release that is going to have the stain of Sweet Baby Inc. on it. The last time we saw that was with Tales of Kinzera Zao, and we know how terrible that game performed to the point where it had to be essentially released free on all these platforms, different games passes and whatnot, in order to look like it had any player base. But still, that was one of the first games that released that was new that had afterwards, after the Sweet Baby Inc. debacle. So this is going to be another one. This is going to be the next game that releases after Sweet Baby Inc. has already been crucified in the public eye, and I'll be very curious to see what Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement is going to do to this game in terms of financial success. It says the outlet reported for Flintlock, it was Tops-Harjo who brought on Kim Belair, the Montreal-based narrative director who has advocated for better representation in stories as a means of bringing new, exciting ideas to games. Harjo explained she took the wonderful base layer Derek had, the world, and just elevated it. She added, you know, the difference when there's a person who's reflecting at you and it's true. There's a certain truth that resonates that can't be faked. I know some people won't notice, but the people who are attuned to that, they'll get it immediately. Oh yeah, her influence is definitely known. It went from a white female lead character to now a black female lead character. Yeah, definitely well known for sure. The interview also details the game's narrative is full of woke ideological propaganda. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Let's find out. Harjo noted that those gods are almost a symbol of colonialism. God, why does every game that has a black male lead or black female lead, why does every one of these games, you guys are just completely incapable of making fucking anything that doesn't blame the white man. At this point, it is actually kind of sad how desperate you need the white man in order to make anything, because every single, look at the Society of Magical Negroes, that movie, it's the same thing. It's all about the white man. You're making everything about the white man. At what point do you just make content for yourselves? It is fucking sickening. I feel bad for the black creators out there trying to make good content that just tells their own stories, you know what I mean? Without having to use colonialism or the evil white man as some means of a story. It's fucking ridiculous, man. It really, like, how boring are you? There are people who have taken over your agency. What do you do when you wrestle with that structure to find and gain your own identity? It's still a game. It's still gods and guns. But when you look at it from that lens, there's another layer on top of that. From Noor being a woman of color, it makes the character and the dynamic even more of an echo of reality. You're boring. You are completely boring. I'm sorry. Like, I am so disinterested in this video game. And again, it's not because it is a black lead, because honestly, I wasn't interested in it even when it was a white lead. But when let's say if I sit down and ask the developer for some, tidbits of the story, and you're telling me about colonialism and basically the white man bad and how you're trying to tell a story that has real life elements to it, I'm fucking out, man. Like, that's not what I'm looking for in a game titled Flintlock Siege of Dawn. Like that, I'm not looking for that. But hey, maybe there's people out there that it is. Hopefully for them, there's enough people to support them financially, because God knows that's not normally the case 9 times out of 10. Following Kabrutus Rambo, adding the game to Sweet Baby Inc., former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern, aka Grums, also claimed that the game had been overrun by woke and cited an anonymous source. He continued, "Before I go further, please note this is a rumor from a source that seems very knowledgeable about the studio's inner workings. Take that as it is. If others would like to verify, please DM me Anon. The CEO and COO at A44 are no longer with the company, but the damage seems to have been done. The good devs at A44, I tell you how to fix it at the end of this thread." He then added, "Did you know the protagonist of Flintlock used to be white? When COO and casting director Andrea Tops Harjo joined the studio, her first actions were to change the character to hire Sweet Baby Inc. and change the main character to a POC. This marked the beginnings of the problems with the game and the studio." Now, I made a video on this prior, and I reported on this. And again, it was an anonymous source. We don't know if it's actually true or not. But I got to tell you, it is really interesting because they even had screenshots of artwork to prove it, right? I don't know if this particular article has it. It doesn't look like they do. But it had bodywork of what it seemed to be a white female that they were going to run with the game. And then they ended up changing it to a black female once they brought in Sweet Baby Inc. It was literally at the time they brought him in, that's when the change was made. So again, for a company that says they do nothing, it seems like you guys keep doing the same shit over and over every time your name is brought up. It's like you kind of have a calling card at this point, right? So even if you claim you do nothing, that calling card essentially proves that you do everything. Like you actually do influence these games, and you're forcing identity politics into these games. You just are. And no, it's not because you're putting in a POC. That's what makes it identity politics. But the fact is, you changed the story. You changed the main character, made them into a person of color, and then instead of telling a good story with that person of color, you decide to want to tell a story about colonialism and white man bad and all this other stuff. And it really is nauseating. It's nauseating, it's boring, and nobody's interested in that shit. So again, I hope that your budget is small enough, because chances are this is not going to be a super successful game. If it is, I would be highly surprised. And of course, I would admit I'm wrong if it is, but I just don't see that happening for this particular game. They might have to fudge their numbers by putting this game on Game Pass or whatever the case may be. But in terms of actual real financial success and player base that's going to be playing it long term or even semi long term, yeah, I don't really see that happening. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.